At 5.
If you're flying out of Fargo to Minneapolis or vice versa, you'll want to check ahead. The weather in the Twin Cities is causing problems for airline travelers. At last check, Delta Airlines has canceled 5 flights and delayed 1 from Minneapolis to Fargo, and 4 flights from Fargo to Minneapolis have also been canceled. And you might know somebody who's involved in that travel mess, stranded because of it. Valley News Team's sports director Beth Houle is stranded in Chicago, trying to make her way back to Fargo after the Vikings game in Philly. Airport Authority Executive Director Sean Doberstein says other planes that were headed for the Twin Cities have been diverted here. He also tells Valley News Live this will impact those trying to fly tomorrow morning. Valley News Live Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson says southern parts of the Twin Cities, where the airport is located, are in line for 12 to 18 inches of snow. And Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton is activating the National Guard to help stranded drivers in the southern part of the state. Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport had to close all 4 runways due to heavy snow and wind around 1 p.m. And as of this afternoon, 400 flights there have been canceled due to snow and gusty winds. And flights that are late are delayed by an average of 6 hours. But for us here in the Valley, a different story. It's quiet and our temperatures remain well above zero. Hutch, a nice start to our work week?
Pretty nice. As a matter of fact, we're above average. It's cloudy and a little breezy, so it does have a wind chilly feeling if you're out and about. Here's a look at the big storm system. It certainly missed our areas. From Omaha, though, through southern Minnesota, it continues, and northern Wisconsin getting a punch of fairly heavy snow. Now, the bands were concentrated for much of the day in southeast North Dakota from Mankato and Rochester, where they've already got a foot of snow, up toward the Twin Cities now, which is where most of the snow continues to fall. Many in the metro area will see 6 to 12 inches of snow, with even more south. For us, we just have to worry about some clouds, some patchy fog, and a north breeze at 5 to 15 miles per hour as temperatures slip into the teens as we head to bed tonight. It's going to be another chilly and icy start to our Tuesday, but by and large, we escaped a pretty major winter weather maker there off to the east. I'll have details on when our next chance of snow will be here in a minute.
Yeah, really dodged a bullet.
We did.
Thank you, Hutch. With the Super Bowl just around the corner and not far from home, Craigslist ads looking for women, from college girls to single moms, could be a human trafficking threat. Valley News Team's Rose Itzkovitz has what to look out for.
With Super Bowl 52 coming soon to Minneapolis, some Fargo residents head down looking for temporary work. But some work is better left alone.
Human trafficking can be seen as modern day slavery, and it could be by force, it could be by fraud.
Minneapolis police are investigating ads typically found in the talent section of Craigslist or on Backpage, claiming to search for models, often asking them to wear a bikini or less clothing.
There might be perceived notion maybe victims of human trafficking aren't from Fargo, they aren't from North Dakota, and the reality of the 53 women and children that we served this last year, 83% of the time they were from North. Maybe lack a social safety net if you're the single mom that you were just talking about. Human traffickers are very good at exploiting vulnerability to provide that person something they don't have, whether those are dollars, whether that's drug activity.
So what are some of the red flags? According to Caroline Palmer of the Minnesota Coalition Against Sexual Assault.
When I read the ads, I see these promises of, access to wealthy people, large payments, to be in this, setting where they can get exposure.
Which she says all can lead to exploitation.
A pretty legit modeling enterprise probably wouldn't be advertising on Craigslist.
And while I'm told there is evidence of a spike during the Super Bowl and other large events, a University of Minnesota study shows it's not as large as some expect it to be. Which is why Prochnow says the best thing you can do is always be aware. In Fargo, Rose Itzkovitz, Valley News Live.
The Minneapolis Police Department says the posts are being investigated, which is why police won't comment, other than to say they take all referrals seriously and investigate them appropriately. For more information on the fight against human trafficking, head to our website and click on this story. Smoke from a garage fire in Grand Forks could be seen from miles away. At around 1 this afternoon, flames erupted in an apartment complex garage on the south end of Grand Forks. Firefighters say 10 minutes in, they contained most of the damage to the middle units, but they were still fighting the fire for almost an hour after they got the call. One witness said a lot of people lost a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of smoke that spread out throughout the whole unit. Most of the fires contained to the one, maybe a couple of units on both sides.
Fire officials say the cause is still under investigation. A West Fargo woman accused of driving drunk when she plowed into a stopped police car is not going to trial after all. Ashley Anderson's trial had been set for tomorrow, but she has pleaded guilty to charges of reckless endangerment and DUI. The incident happened in mid-July near the West Fargo Fairgrounds. A West Fargo police officer was making a traffic stop when his squad car was hit by a car driven by Anderson. The officer went to the hospital but recovered. Police recorded Anderson's blood alcohol content at twice the legal driving limit. She was fined, put on probation, and needs to complete a number of alcohol-related programs. But the judge deferred sentencing for 1.5 years when she completes probation. The shutdown of the federal government is almost over. Senators have approved a stopgap spending bill that will keep the government running for 2.5 weeks. CBS News correspondent Mola Lenghi has more on the bipartisan compromise from Capitol Hill.
If not, the yeas are 81, the nays are 18.
The Senate approved a short-term spending bill Monday that will end a 3-day shutdown of the federal government.
As I've said repeatedly over the past week, shutting down the government is an irresponsible way to do business.
Mr. President.
The majority of Democrats and nearly all Republican senators voted for the legislation that extends federal spending until February 8th. They reversed their opposition after Republicans agreed to bring a bill to the floor to address Dreamers, immigrants brought illegally to the U.S. as children.
The Republican majority now has 17 days to prevent the Dreamers from being deported.
The deal was reached following meetings Sunday and Monday between Republican and Democratic senators.
Lawmakers were unable to reach a compromise before a midnight deadline on Friday to avert a shutdown. The House must still vote, but the legislation is expected to pass. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders read a statement from the president.
I am pleased that Democrats in Congress have come to their senses.
President Trump could sign the bill that will officially end the shutdown as early as this evening. Mola Lenghi, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
President Trump held a couple of meetings with various senators today to discuss a path forward on immigration reform. North Dakota and Minnesota get evaluated on whether traffic safety laws are helping save lives. That's still ahead tonight.
Laws that enforce wearing seatbelts in the front and back seat, text messaging restrictions, and some restrictions on teen drivers. South Dakota and Wyoming were at the bottom of 13 states landing